There is a certain type of person whose presence feels like rest. They do not try to impress, they do not perform, they do not compete for attention. And yet, when they walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts slightly. People feel drawn to them, though they cannot say why. It is not the perfection of their features or the charm of their words, but something subtler, an invisible steadiness, an unspoken warmth, a quiet strength that reassures. Such a person has cultivated what many spend a lifetime chasing, but rarely find: an attractive personality grounded not in appearance, but in essence. This kind of attractiveness has little to do with how you look and everything to do with how you carry yourself, how you respond when life bruises you, how you treat those who cannot help you, how deeply you know yourself when the world becomes loud. In the modern age, where beauty is marketed, filtered, and manufactured, it is easy to forget that the most magnetic trait a person can possess is integrity. People are not drawn to perfection, they are drawn to peace. They are drawn to presence. They are drawn to someone who does not need to be seen because they have already seen themselves clearly. You live in an age that worships visibility. People chase fame, followers, admiration, the illusion of being known. But the Stoics understood that to be admired by many is meaningless if you do not respect yourself. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be, Marcus Aurelius wrote. Be one. The same truth applies to beauty. Waste no time trying to appear attractive. Be attractive in the way you live, think, and move through the world. The kind of attractiveness that endures does not demand attention. It commands it, effortlessly and quietly, through the gravity of your character. And so, when we speak of having an attractive personality, we are not speaking of charm, wit, or appearance. We are speaking of something spiritual, the harmony between your actions and your values, the serenity of a mind that has made peace with itself. You do not become magnetic by chasing approval. You become magnetic by ceasing to need it. The first sign of an attractive personality, then, is your ability to be at peace with who you are, to stop negotiating your worth with the world. You have begun to understand that your value does not increase when others praise you, nor does it decrease when they misunderstand you. The opinions of others are winds, they pass, but your worth is the mountain that stands unmoved beneath them. When you learn this, truly learn it, you stop living reactively. You no longer rise and fall with the approval of others. You stop trying to prove and start simply being. This stillness within you is power. It is the quiet authority that comes from knowing you can lose everything external and still remain whole. Most people confuse confidence with loudness, but real confidence is silent. It does not need to shout because it does not need to convince. It is born of self-trust, the calm certainty that whatever comes, you will meet it with dignity. People sense this. They may not articulate it, but they feel safer around someone who is not ruled by insecurity. Your steadiness becomes a mirror for their chaos, your composure a refuge for their noise. There is something magnetic about someone who does not need attention. It unsettles those who do. It reminds them that peace is not found in being admired, but in being grounded. When you stop needing to be impressive, you start being impressive in a deeper way. You become like a mountain lake, calm, clear, reflecting whatever stands before you without losing your own stillness. This quiet confidence is the heart of Stoic attractiveness: power without show, strength without performance, grace without need. But this does not mean coldness. Some mistake Stoic strength for emotional detachment. In truth, it is the opposite. The Stoic is deeply feeling, but disciplined in expression. You can be gentle and still powerful. You can be kind and still firm. Your calmness is not born of apathy, but of mastery. You have learned that emotions are natural visitors: anger, jealousy, fear, but none are masters of your house. You host them without surrendering to them. And this self-command, this clarity, makes you glow with quiet authority. There is another form of beauty that reveals itself in how you treat others. The second sign of an attractive personality is the ability to make people feel seen, valued, and at peace in your presence. You do not demand that others perform for your attention. Instead, you offer them the rare gift of being fully heard. In a time when everyone speaks to be noticed, you listen to understand. You notice subtleties, the small pause before someone answers, the tiredness behind a smile. You pay attention, and in doing so, you remind others of their humanity. But what makes this quality truly magnetic is your ability to listen without losing yourself. You are not a mirror for everyone's chaos. You do not let people's moods dictate your own. You can care deeply without carrying the world's weight. There is strength in your compassion because it is boundaried. You give, but you do not empty yourself. You help, but you do not rescue those who refuse to stand. This balance, this calm compassion, is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he urged himself to be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. To be tolerant is not to be permissive. It is to understand that everyone struggles, but you will not sacrifice your peace for their storms. People are drawn to someone who is kind without being gullible, generous without being drained, soft without being weak. You do not fix others. You respect their freedom to grow. You offer empathy, not indulgence, understanding, not enabling. There is quiet beauty in that maturity. Others may not always like your boundaries, but they will respect them because they can feel that they are born from self-respect, not pride. The third sign of an attractive personality is the grace with which you carry your pain. Life will wound you. There is no avoiding that. The Stoics never promised immunity from suffering, only the power to suffer well. What stands in the way becomes the way, Marcus wrote. Pain, if faced with courage, becomes the forge of strength. The way you endure hardship, the way you keep your composure when others lose theirs, is a rare and compelling form of beauty. You have been broken before. You have lost people, opportunities, illusions, but you refuse to become bitter. You learn that grief, if carried with dignity, refines the soul. The wounds that once bled now shine as wisdom. This resilience, this quiet endurance, gives you depth that cannot be faked. It is the reason others trust you. They sense you have walked through darkness without losing your light. You do not dramatize your pain. You transmute it. You have turned your suffering into empathy, your mistakes into clarity, your scars into strength. People can feel the difference between someone who hides their pain and someone who has made peace with it. The latter moves through the world with calm gravity. They do not flinch at vulnerability because they know what it means to bleed and heal. You have learned to meet suffering not with panic but with patience, and that patience, that quiet courage, is magnetic. You do not chase comfort anymore. You no longer believe that ease is proof of success. You have learned that peace comes from mastery, not avoidance. The Stoics taught that pain is neutral, only your judgment of it makes it unbearable, and you have learned to face pain without labeling it as injustice. You face it as a test, an invitation to grow in strength and grace. This composure, this quiet endurance, makes you radiant in a way that time cannot diminish. The fourth sign of an attractive personality is the absence of envy, gossip, and comparison. You have outgrown the pettiness of competing for validation. You understand that another person's success does not threaten your own. You wish people well, not because it is fashionable, but because bitterness is too heavy a burden to carry. You no longer feel the need to criticize others to feel secure. You do not need to dim anyone's light to make yours visible. There is elegance in that restraint. You could mock, but you choose silence. You could boast, but you choose humility. You could gossip, but you choose to protect the absent. This restraint, this inner discipline, is profoundly beautiful. It gives you an air of dignity that no external glamour can replace. You are not interested in drama because you understand it is a form of weakness, the addiction to chaos disguised as passion. Your energy is too sacred to waste on shallow wars. The Stoics would have called this temperance, the art of self-control, the mastery of one's impulses. In practicing it, you elevate yourself above the noise of competition. You no longer measure your life by comparison, but by alignment. Are you living according to your principles or not? That becomes your only question. And this integrity, this refusal to betray your values, makes you deeply attractive. People can sense when your peace is real, when your kindness is genuine, when your restraint is earned. When you no longer seek to outshine others, you begin to shine naturally. Your presence stops being a contest and becomes a comfort. You attract not through charm, but through calm. You become the person others trust, not because you always say the right words, but because your silence carries more peace than most people's noise. And finally, the fifth sign of an attractive personality, You remain calm in chaos. You have developed the rare ability to stay steady when life becomes uncertain. You no longer panic at the first sign of difficulty. You understand that fear is natural, bending to fear is optional. You have trained your mind to be your ally, not your adversary. When life collapses, as it sometimes will, you do not lose yourself. You return to your breath, your principles, your reason. You have built an inner fortress that no external storm can destroy. You may bend, but you will not break. You have learned that peace is not a reward, it is a skill. And the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. People are drawn to calm energy. They crave it. In a world addicted to outrage and noise, the one who remains composed becomes magnetic. Your calmness is not passivity, it is power under control. You do not rush to react. You pause, observe, choose your response. And that simple discipline, the ability to respond, not react, separates the wise from the frantic. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You embody that truth. Your peace no longer depends on circumstances. It depends on your self-command. You have learned that composure is contagious. When you walk into chaos and remain calm, others instinctively steady themselves. They trust your presence, even if they do not understand why. To possess this calm is to possess freedom. You are no longer a slave to moods, noise, or approval. You are free in the truest sense, not because you have everything you want, but because nothing external can own you. That is the highest form of attractiveness, self-mastery. So you see, real beauty has nothing to do with appearance. It is the harmony between the mind and the soul, between reason and compassion, between strength and peace. You are attractive when you can face pain with dignity, when you can love without clinging, when you can walk alone without feeling lost. You are beautiful when you no longer chase, when you trust the pace of your own becoming. Do not underestimate the power of such presence. It changes rooms, quiets storms, heals hearts. You do not need to announce who you are. Your energy will do it for you. The Stoics taught that virtue, not wealth, not fame, is the only true good. Virtue radiates through your demeanor, your words, your silence. It cannot be hidden. And so stop trying to be impressive. Start being consistent. Stop chasing charm. Cultivate calm. Stop performing. Begin living. You will find that when you no longer need to prove your worth, others begin to sense it. When you no longer try to be magnetic, you already are. The world does not need more beautiful faces. It needs more beautiful souls. It needs people whose strength comes from love, whose peace comes from principle, whose kindness is not weakness but wisdom. To live in such a way is to embody Stoic attractiveness, the quiet, timeless kind that neither fame nor age can erode. Be that person. Be the calm in the storm, the warmth in the cold, the strength in the silence. Be the one whose mere presence reminds others that peace is possible. For in a world of noise, nothing is more beautiful or more powerful than stillness.